Hello everyone and welcome back to What No One Tells You, the podcast where we talk about the things nobody explains to you before you become a manager and the lessons you usually learn only after they already created tension, frustration or burnout. If this is your first time listening, welcome. My name is Claudia Slojitoru. I'm HR professional and leadership coach, and I work closely with managers who genuinely want to do a good job, but they feel stuck between expectations from above and reality on the ground. Because it's the beginning of the year, objectives are everywhere right now. They are being drafted, aligned, reviewed, approved, and rolled out, and many managers are hoping that this year things will finally click. So in episode 9, I want to walk you through very practical ways to set objectives that actually work in real life with real people, not just in presentations. This will not be another theory-heavy episode. This is about what actually makes objectives stick. Why most objectives fail? Most objectives don't fail because managers don't know how to write them. They fail because managers focus on clarity and forget about commitment. An objective can be perfectly defined, measured, and aligned, and still fail miserably once daily work starts. That happens because people execute what they feel connected to, not what they are simply informed about. At the beginning of the year, objectives are passed down, broken into smaller pieces, and communicated efficiently. What gets missed is involvement. When people are not part of shaping an objective, they treat it like it's someone else's responsibility. This is one of the biggest blind spots in management. Ownership is not created after objectives are announced. Ownership is created while they are still being built. Start with the problem, not with the target. One of the simplest and most powerful shifts you can make this year is to stop starting with numbers and start with the problem. Every objective exists because something is not working as well as it should. Maybe processes are slow, maybe customers are dissatisfied, maybe teams are overloaded, or maybe results are inconsistent. When you start with the target instead of the problem, people see pressure. When you start with the problem, people see purpose. Teams need to understand what pain the objective is meant to reduce, what friction it is meant to remove, and what will be different if it succeeds. When that connection is clear, objectives stop feeling arbitrary and start feeling useful. If your team cannot explain in their own words why an objective exists, then the work is not done yet. Less ambition on paper, more impact in reality. Another reason objectives collapse early in the year is overload. Many teams are given too many priorities at the same time and are expected to treat all of them as critical. That does not create high performance. It creates consistent switching, diluted effort, and quiet frustration. A team can realistically focus on a very limited number of priorities at once. 3 is usually the maximum. Everything beyond that becomes background noise. When you set objectives, your job is not only to define what matters, but also to protect your team from everything that does not matter right now. That protection is part of leadership. Focus is not about lowering standards. Focus is about giving people a real chance to succeed. Bring objectives into daily work. Objectives often fail because they live in documents and presentations instead of daily conversations. Once the kickoff meeting is over, objectives slowly disappear behind urgent tasks and operational pressure. Then, at the end of the quarter, everyone wonders why progress feels so small. You can change this with a very simple habit. Make objectives part of how you talk about work every week. Regularly connecting daily tasks to the bigger objectives help people see that their effort really matters. It creates continuity and meaning, not just activity. And objectives should feel present and relevant, not distant and abstract. The real reason objectives work or don't. Here is the truth that rarely gets said clearly. Objectives do not fail because people lack discipline or motivation. They fail because managers underestimate how much clarity, involvement, and focus people actually need to commit. People move faster when they understand where they are going and why. They perform better when they feel part of the journey instead of passengers on it. So, if this year you want different results, don't just refine the objectives. Refine how you build it with your team. If this episode resonated with you, especially right now at the start of the year, make sure you follow What No One Tells You podcast so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you know a manager who is currently overwhelmed by objectives and quietly doubting whether they will work, share this episode with them. Sometimes the most helpful thing we can offer is a clearer way to think. My name is Claudia Slujitoru and this is What No One Tells You podcast. Talk to you next time.